Welcome to Business Exit Success, the podcast dedicated to helping small business owners on how they can successfully transition out of their business on their terms while also living a life of purpose and fulfillment after the sale. I am your host, certified financial planner and certified exit planning advisor, Tom Poltersdorf. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Today we are talking about planning for life after business. We will discuss why this is so important to think about and plan ahead for way in advance before going through an exit. I'm going to share 3 questions to ask yourself and hope you really take the time to think through to help with this process. I have personally used these questions myself and in meetings with my business owner clients to help uncover what truly matters in life, what do you value, and what will bring true fulfillment to your life outside of the business. So since I've had some success using these, I hope you will too. Now, real quick, to set the stage here, these 3 questions I did not create myself. So just to give full credit to who came up with these, they were created by a guy named George Kinder, who has been a financial planner for a very long time and actually created a process called life planning. So the concept here is rather than initially focusing on the numbers and projecting out how much money you'll need 15 years from now to retire or how much can we save in taxes, George would focus on how someone can create a life that is worth living today, that allows you to pursue your passions and give you deep space for deep reflection. So here's the first question. Design your life. Imagine you are financially secure, that you have enough money to take care of your needs now and in the future. How would you live your life? Would you change anything? So the first couple questions there, we were asked to create the vision of our dream life, where the time we have and the funds we have are unlimited. So pretty cool. This can be a fun one to think through because we have unlimited money and there are no constraints with this question. We can also consider if we would change anything, given that money is not a barrier anymore, right? So some responses I've received from this question, actually in meetings, include taking the family to Italy, going to see the Aurora Borealis, which at the time I had no clue what the heck that meant, but apparently that's going to see the Northern Lights in Alaska. Others have said focusing on my health more, eating better, having time to relax, going to the Caribbean, etc. So some really cool responses I've seen in question 1 to stretch your mind and really kind of dig into what you like to do if you had unlimited funds. Now, question 2, you have less time. Now imagine that you visit your doctor who tells you that you have only 5 to 10 years to live. The good news is you won't ever feel sick, but you will have no notice of the moment of your death. What will you do in the time you have remaining? Will you change your life, and how will you do it? Now, notice in this question, there's no unlimited funds anymore. Your finances remain as they currently stand, but now there's a time constraint, right? You have 5 to 10 years until your life ends. So it gets deeper with this question because now you start to place a value on what you do with your time since it's limited. Many responses I receive with this question is making sure my affairs are in order, like having a will in place, getting your estate plan in order to make it easier for your heirs and your relatives, reviewing finances to see if you still have to work, and if so, for how long. Many say they would try to spend as much time with their family as possible, but ultimately you begin to prioritize what matters most to you in your life. And the third question is, today's the day. Finally, imagine that your doctor shocks you with the news that you only have 24 hours to live. Notice the feelings arise as you confront your very real mortality. Ask yourself, what did I miss? Who did I not get to be? What did I not get to do? Now, this question really changes the game, right? You only have 24 hours left. But rather than asking what would you do, like in the previous 2 questions, instead it's what did you miss? Who did you not get to be? And what did you not get to do? Really tough questions here, but if you notice with all 3 of these questions, you can see that each progressively gets a little deeper and much harder to answer, starting all the way back from question 1. The third question truly forces you to think about what matters, as you only have 24 hours left. And I've received answers to this question that most of the time have absolutely nothing to do with finances or money. What mostly comes up are relationships, missing family events, missed watching the kids or grandkids grow up, missing out being an active grandparent or parent, starting a business that you may never had the chance to take the leap and do, certain risks that you were too scared to maybe not do at that time in your life, or maybe you never got to start a hobby or try to play an instrument that you've always liked. Some really deep stuff can come up when talking through the last question. And sometimes I give these to folks to answer and write down their answers and bring back to the meeting. And sometimes it's a blank piece of paper and people can't answer it, at least immediately, because they have to internally think through it and write something down to answer the questions. So in my experience, answering these questions and guiding people through it, this is not an easy process, but a powerful process once completed. And in answering and going through these 3 questions, it becomes inspiring, encouraging a person to accomplish and go after what is most meaningful in their life. Occasionally, and what makes these questions difficult is I found some people realize how far off they are when trying to accomplish something that matters most to them and how little attention they've given to it. And the whole purpose of these questions is to show you how you can take your answers and turn them into action that inspires you to start living this stuff out and living a life that you most value. Once your values and what matters most to you has been identified, you can then align your time, money, and attention to bring those values to life. And for many of us business owners, we can align our business goals with our personal goals to make sure they're working together. At the end of the day, what I found at the end of this process for many folks that take it seriously and give it some time and intentional thought is you discover what is most important to you, and that money can be emotional. Owning a business, running a business, exiting a business can be emotional. Being aware of the emotions that arise while going through this process can allow you to have conversations around what really matters in life and be able to ask yourself, what are you waiting for? So I realize this was a deep episode today, but certainly hope it was valuable. I will include in the show notes a 1-page worksheet you can print off and work through these questions on your own if you choose to do so. You can find that at beyondyourexitwm.com/podcast. And this is episode 19. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, real quick before you take off, if you found this episode helpful in any way, please rate the podcast and leave a review. I would love to get your feedback and see if there are any topics you'd like to hear more about going forward. Thank you, and I appreciate you all very much.